Welcome to my channel. If you're new, my name is Precious, and on this channel, I host a series called Fettling Flames. Fettling Flames is a series where I kindle subtle fires that mend you to wholeness. On today's episode of Fettling Flames, we'll be talking about self-sponsored struggles. So like we all know, everyone faces challenges. Struggles are a part of life. We cannot run away from them, no matter how hard we try. But what if the struggle you are currently going through is self-sponsored? What if you are the engineer of your own problem? In our nature as human beings, it is very easy for us to be evasive. The blame game didn't start today. It started thousands of years ago from the very first man and woman that God made. The moment they found out that they were wrong, rather than accept responsibility, they quickly shifted the blame. Adam shifted the blame to Eve, and Eve shifted the blame to the serpent. And from then on, man has always shifted blame. There has always been a recycling of who was the cause. Generally, there are so many ways through which our struggles, our difficulties, our pains can be sponsored. And when they get sponsored, they come in different forms. Sometimes they come as long-standing consequences. Sometimes they come in ripple effect, continuous struggles that affects not only us, but even people who come after us. Sometimes they are things that don't just drain us, but deprive us of even the very destiny that we could have stewarded. Today, I would like to highlight 3 major directions in which struggles can come. And while we do that, we center on the one that you sponsor yourself. The first one, obviously, is the devil. He is the quickest one to put a blame on. If something goes wrong, it is very, very easy in our nature to remember the devil and give him the credit, right? And it's up to him to accept if it was his fault or not. Nevertheless, he still gets to bear the blame. Secondly, there are those issues and struggles that we inherited from our forefathers, from our parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, and ancestors who had come or gone ahead of us. Sometimes you find out that you grew up and you just notice this pattern, you just notice your struggle, you just find out that this is something running in the bloodline, in the family. Maybe it could be a sickness, maybe it could be a habit, it could be a sort of life. But every time you look back, you would find out that there is somebody in the family who it happened to, and it has created a ripple effect. Ignorance sponsored troubles. Ignorance sponsored struggles are those struggles that we are going through as a result of things that we didn't know and things that we were oblivious to. Choices that were made when we were unaware of what the consequences would be. Now, when we are experiencing such struggles, it is very difficult because until the ignorance has been decoded, the struggle continues. Many times these struggles are intertwined one into another, a combination of devil, inheritance, and ignorance. But in addition to that, there is the struggle that is sponsored by you. Everyone has the power of choice, the power to choose between right and wrong, good and evil. And that power of choice enables you to decide what your next fate will be. It is very easy to decide, however, it can become very challenging to go back on those decisions. There are many times where we are so quick to dabble into decisions because of the things that we stand to gain. Sometimes because of instant gratification, the need to satisfy a craving, a want, a desire that seems as though if you don't have it now, you can never have it anymore. Sometimes it is just the need to fulfill your emotions, to gratify yourself. It's the need to feel that you have done something and it doesn't matter if it was done right or wrong. Sometimes it is the need to satisfy our pride. Man in his nature has an innate ego. There is that desire to want to do something and feel like I have done it. Yes, I achieved it. Yes, I did it. We can deal with the consequences later, but for now, it has to be done. And depending on the season of life that you are in, the decisions that you take at those times can make or mar you. There are decisions that are taken in younger years, during teenagehood, puberty, adolescence, youthful vibrancy, and those decisions can design or coordinate where your destiny turns to. Now, the worrying thing about self-sponsored struggles is that many times if you fail to take responsibility, you would never get out of them. And one of the most difficult self-sponsored struggles are the struggles that has to do with addiction. Now, addiction is being attached to something in such a way that it is something you find difficult to survive without, you find difficult to do without. It comes to a point where whatever it is actually controlling you, has a hold on you, has a grip on you, that you cannot go back. You cannot control how much of it that you can have. And many times when we talk of addictions, our minds are quick to run towards things that are wrong, maybe drinking, drugs, pornography, and stuff like that. But there could also be things that might be considered harmless, in quotes, yet they are still addictive. For example, when you use your phone and you use the phone in such a way that the phone starts to control you, it decides how you run your day. At that point, you're being addictive to the phone. Many times we are guilty of these things. But the question is, have you been able to identify where the source of your struggle is? There are so many young people who are struggling to get it right in life because the problem they are going through presently was sponsored by the actions they took either in their younger years or in their formative years. No doubt there are those ones that were no fault of theirs, maybe because they were in a wrong environment or because they were exposed to the wrong things. However, have you been able to identify the struggles that you are going through, the inability to put yourself together to make the right decisions, the inability to find a place to find your place in life, to find who you are, to be able to integrate into the design, the mold that has been created for you? Have you been able to discover why it seems like you are in a continuous vicious circle? Your life is revolving around the same things over and over again, and there refuses to be no change. Someone once said that madness is doing the same things over and over again and expecting the same result. Now, if you have been doing the same things, if you have been towing the same line, and you are getting no positive result, why are you continuing on that path? That person who you have identified with as a friend, but every time you meet with them, something goes wrong in your life. Have you identified if your loyalty to that relationship is a self-sponsored struggle to what you're going through in life? It is important that you reflect on the things that are happening to you that could be self-inflicted. You might have walked into the wrong places. You might have said yes to the wrong friends. You might have opened up yourself to the wrong space people. You might have interacted with the wrong set of people. You might have listened to the wrong things. You have listened to the wrong music. You've listened to the wrong podcast. And now your mind is being rewired. There is something that many times we fail to realize as human beings. As human beings, we are more of spirits than humans. What that means is that you are more of a spiritual being than a natural being. Someone once said that we are not natural beings going through spiritual experiences. We are spiritual beings that are navigating the world of naturality. When God created us, we were created primarily as spirits, and then flesh was embedded in us. Now, why am I saying this? The reason is because you need to understand that every time you interact with somebody, you're not just interacting with who they are, you are interacting with their spirits as well. And the tendency for the spirit of another person to rub off on you is very, very high, depending on the level of your own spiritual strength and vitality. And that is why it is important that in your interactions, in your choices of friendship, of where you want to visit, of who you want to speak with, of who you want to have long-time decisions with, of who you're going to marry, that consciousness must be there. That it's not just about this person, it's not just about how they look, it's not just about how they speak or how beautiful they are, how gorgeous they look, how handsome they look. It's also about the spirit that they are carrying, the components that is in them. And the spirits of men are magnetic. A lot of people are going through struggles because they interacted with people who are carrying negative spirits, corrupted spirits. Yes, the spirit of a man can be corrupted. And when you interact with such persons, they rub off on you. And that is why issues like having sexual intercourse with people before marriage takes place is one of the most dangerous things a person can get involved with. Why? Because when you interact with that person sexually, you find out that you didn't just give them something, they also gave you something. It was not just an interaction of the physical, it was a merging, it was an amalgamation in the spirit, where whatever that makes up the components of them rubs off on the inside of you and become a component of you. And that is why I would usually give this analogy. If somebody is exposing themselves to sexual experiences, whether physically or spiritually, yes, because sex is not only in the physical. There are people who have never had sex physically, but they have interacted with people sexually in the spiritual. That was why Jesus said that if any man looks at a woman to lust after her, he had committed an adultery in his heart. So sex is not just physical, it can happen spiritually. If you interact with somebody and you begin to derive sexual pleasure from your interaction with them, whether it's by chat, whether it is by sending images or whatever, you have had a sexual interaction. And many times it reflects in a dream. Now, when people get engaged sexually with multiple persons, it results to what could be known as confusion. It is spiritual confusion because it is the merging and the synchronization and the convergence of spirits of different kinds being summed up and being distributed from one person to another. Now imagine that a woman gets exposed sexually to one person, 2 people, 3 people, and those 3 different people have 3 different spirits, and those spirits could be a combination of several things. It could be a combination of curses, generational patterns, inherited struggles, troubles that are not just physically seen with the eyes, probably diseases and infirmities. And then this one lady takes from this one person, takes from this other person, takes from this other person. And remember, for everyone that she encounters, she leaves a residue of what she's carrying on the inside while taking on what they have on their own inside. So she has something already. She has a present struggle she's struggling with, and then she picks up another person's struggle, picks up another person's struggle, picks up another person's struggle, depending on the number, 3 or 4 persons. She has the combination of 4 struggles in addition to what she has herself. And by such exposure, you are open to multiple things. You're open to both physical troubles, spiritual troubles, mental troubles, emotional troubles, psychological problems, and then the spiritual one. At least a minimum of 5 different struggles. The mind is messed up. The focus is, displaced. There is disorientation. There is confusion. There is pain. There is distress. There is worry. There is fear, anxiety. Name it. Disease, risk of pregnancy, risk of complications later in health-wise, all manner of things. Then in addition to this, there is the risk of spiritual invasion. The combination of the spiritual forces that are inherent in the people that she has interacted with have been disposed into her, and she would have to deal with taking them out. In the end of the day, her struggles are being sponsored by the decision to have fun, to enjoy herself, to be happy, to exercise her freedom. But then she leaves carrying more baggage than she ever bargained for. I like to end this by saying that we must be careful of the choices that we make. You must choose your battles wisely, because the world is a warfare. The world is a battlefront. You must choose your battles wisely. You must decide how you want to live your life deliberately, who you want to interact with, the things you want to do, and how they would not only affect you, but affect your children and affect your future generations. And if you're going through a struggle presently, you know within yourself that primarily your struggle is sponsored by a decision that you took. It is important that you are humble enough to accept that you have made a mistake. You are wrong. But I'm not encouraging you to live in self-guilt, to live in unforgiveness towards yourself. Accept responsibility. Confess that you were wrong. Turn to God. Confess your sins. And begin to take deliberate steps to do the right thing. If you don't need counsel, if you do need to reach out to a professional or to somebody, a spiritual counselor, a mentor, a spiritual leader who needs to help you to navigate the process, please do so, because your life and your destiny depends on the choices that you make. Thank you for listening to me today, and I hope to come your way again sometime soon. Goodbye.